Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and we've done a couple things lately from Eredità Brewing. I'm thrown off right now. The power just went out in my whole studio and came right back on. So I'm a little bit wary. I think it's going to go out again, but we're going to dive back into it. I actually did this whole intro, so it feels foreign to do it again, but I haven't cracked it open yet, so we're still good. Eredità Brewing, I did their Pragmatism Citra. It was off. There was an oxidation issue. Didn't post it. I did their Joy, number 1, I believe it was, and loved it quite a bit. But I referenced that other one so much in the video, I felt kind of compelled to throw that other video on, tacking on the end of that, so people had reference. You know, the beer was oxidized, but I didn't really review the beer. I talked about it was like a teaching moment about new breweries and all that stuff. Anyway, Chris from Eredità reached out. He sent me a bunch of beers, and this is actually the first one we're diving into from the box that he sent off. The whole impetus for him sending the box off was for me to try that Pragmatism Citra and give it another whirl, which I will. I got a little bit of a sniffle, so I figured I'd wait till my schnoz is more schnozzolific until I dive into it. So we're going to do this one first. It's called Science. Not really. Galaxy 5 Basic Elements, double IPA. On the side here it says, 5 Basic Elements is the name chosen for a double IPA pale ale brewed in dry hops exclusive with Citra from Australia. The 5 basic elements are earth, water, fire, air, and space. Each are playing a critical role in our ability to alchemize raw materials in the beer. Alchemize. Our existence on Earth, the creation of our galaxy, and the genesis of our entire universe. Kind of want to watch The Fifth Element right now. Great movie. Lilo Dallas Multipass. Chicken good. So yeah, let's dive into the sucker. Hopefully the power doesn't go out because the beer has been opened. Can't put it back in. I don't know, you could, but wouldn't be any fun. Label-wise, again, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say Eredità's labels blow me away. I like the simplicity about it. Black cans of iridescent color, reflective color, metallic color. I always dig. There's just, you know, if you want to know more about the logo, you can actually go on their website, and it kind of makes sense, you know, what it's derived from. Beer-wise, definitely looks the part of a rich, bold hazy. Has that golden glow that you come to expect from a big double IPA. Index finger just above, super creamy, fluffy head on it. Let's see if we can get a schnoz on the sucker. Yeah, I mean, it is just rip-roaring with tropical, fruity galaxy, but at the same time, I get this hint that there's going to be a little bit of ranky-dank in there too. You know, talk about Australian hops and talk about Southern Hemisphere hops. Unless you're trying to drive out all of that bitterness and ranky-dank, you're definitely going to get it in there. And it just comes off bursting at the seams. Even with the schnoz not working 100%, it's just tropical on top of tropical. Sure, pineapple citrus, sure, PG, whatever, but it's more tropical fruit for me than anything. This really kind of cool, kind of fluttering, bittering thing. I'm curious to see what it actually tastes like. But it comes off as a very vibrant nose, very much double IPA, and the way it comes off aromatically. Again, even with a schnoz not at 100%. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah. Man, ranky. Mean muggin' rank. Mean muggin'. Ooh. The bitterness in here is very much reminiscent of like old school. No, I shouldn't say old school. I gotta find some kind of way to define all this. It's like new school, old school, new school. The bitterness comes off. There's a little bit of carbonic acid thing that's beefing it up, but it's not like hyper crazy, so I'm okay with it. But it's very much kind of wants to be ranky onion. It just lacks, the carbonic acid just keeps it from being like totally scalliony, but it definitely has this oniony, ranky onion thing, like old school, like single cut, like old school kind of like, you know, Mutueka level kind of rankiness, and that all has to do with how you're treating the beer, how you're preparing the beer, when you're picking your hops, all that kind of stuff, fun stuff. But I really do dig that, the bitterness of that, the mean muggingness of that level of the hop is not trying to be beaten out of this beer. Again, the tropical fruit portion of the show, definitely there. It's more melange more than anything for me in the tropical fruit side of things, dipping into that pineapple citrus thing, dipping in a little bit of that stone fruit stuff, but it really is tropical fruit winning the day, a la, or at least it is a kind of melange, kind of medley of tropical fruitiness, but it's very, very, very boisterous, very, very heavy, very, very double IPA. Like, a lot of times on this channel, I'll talk about beers that are like, you know, it's kind of drinking its weight class, but it's a little bit, or, you know, it's a double IPA, but it's more like a single. No, you're never going to be confused with this beer being a double IPA. From the way the hops come off, from both the bittering and fruit side of things, the way the mouthfeel comes off, it's got that cool trick it pulls off where it's kind of, it's drinkable, at the same time dense, and you know you're drinking something that's turbid and huge. So it's pulling off all those things that let you know, without a doubt, not messing around, you're drinking a double IPA that's eating up there in ABV. I actually didn't even call out an ABV on this, did I? You would assume it would be on here. 8%. Yeah, it's there. It's there. I like this quite a bit. I like the way the bittering comes off more than anything about the beer. Food portion of the show is fantastic. If we're going to get nitpicky here, again, it's going to be a carbonic thing. It's going to be a carbonic acid thing, that seltzer-y thing. And again, I'm sensitive to it. There's some people who like don't even know what I'm talking about because they just don't even like sense it a lot of times. But it's very much like a seltzer water carbonic acid thing. It could be a little bit heightened in beers a lot of time. Forced carbonation, it can happen that either purposely you want to put it in there to heighten bitterness, or sometimes you're just your CO2 source is going to be a little bit more carbonic. If that was dialed back a little bit, I think it would open the beer up and be a little bit more kind of vibrant on both the green and fruity side of things. But again, we're nitpicking here and just saying, double IPA wise, it's pretty damn good. Is it Mount Rushmore status for me? It's very close, very, very close. Probably just on the outside looking in, just because there's ones that skew a little bit better than, better for me in particular. But you're talking about hundreds of double IPAs, and you know, it's just barely missing that mark of top 4. I think that's quite the accomplishment, and just honestly a very cool kind of robust offering, because the first couple ones I had were like low ABV on purpose. That's what I buy. Chris is nice enough to send off a couple different things that I probably wouldn't normally buy. You know, double IPA 8% is not necessarily my jam, but I'm burned more often than not on double IPAs, hence the reason why I don't buy them. If this is how most of them were, I'd probably buy them more often, at least, and drink them kinda from time to time, let's put it that way. But yeah, very tasty stuff, absolutely delicious, and can't wait to dive into the other ones. Actually accidentally opened, he sent me a fest beer, dry hop fest beer. I drank it by accident. And then you're like, how do you drink it? Because I had, like, all fest beers have that pattern on it. You know the pattern I'm talking about, like that checkered pattern. And then I was like, you know, and I was like, I was doing work in here, and I was like, you know, I sat down, I'm going to grab a beer, and I had like 3 or 4 of them in there from different breweries and stuff like that. And I went to like grab, and I was like, I'll grab one of the fest beers and just rip it. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I grabbed the one I actually wanted to review. My bad. Can't wait to dive in the other one. So we'll see what's what. But yeah, very fun stuff. Mount Rushmore status, worthy, just in the outside looking in for me. Value and availability, don't know. People tell me what's what. 12% beer project, so hopefully the price isn't too crazy. And leave with, if you like, what do you like this? If you like boisterous, big, bold, double IPAs that aren't afraid of bittering, I think you're going to be pretty happy, especially if you kind of reminisce about the old little bit of ranky dank. This will probably do you. Eredità, have you had their beers? Have you been to 12%? Have you had a bunch of their stuff? Have you had this beer in particular? All that fun stuff down there. There you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully enjoying a little double IPA goodness right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.